Good morning, everyone. My name is Danielle Taylor. I work in the assessment department as the program specialist. Basically, I work with every single assessment the state gives to Idaho students. Recently, I've been tasked with the ACCUPLACER. I have been collaborating with the other SDE members to create guidance for our stakeholders around this assessment. I'm here in the room with Kendrick Lester, the Special Education Secondary Transition Coordinator. I also collaborated with Melanie Jones, the College and Career Readiness Assessment Coordinator, along with Karen Striegel, the Early Childhood and Alternate Assessment Coordinator. Today, we will hopefully cover all your questions, but if we do not, please feel free to email us or call us. We'll be covering a variety of topics. We will have a refresher on the college entrance examination rule. We'll discuss the difference between ACCUPLACER placement and ACCUPLACER diagnostic, inform you on when the testing windows will be for ACCUPLACER. We'll provide guidance for IEP teams to decide which college entrance exam is best for their students, what's next for you to do until the testing window, and provide you a date for a follow-up webinar. As I'm sure everyone is aware, there was a recent rule update to the college entrance examination graduation requirement. Currently, this rule is proposed and has been approved by the State Board of Education. What this means is the rule is in effect, but still has to be voted in by Idaho legislation in the 2018 session. This portion of the rule that brought us together today is students receiving special education services through a current individualized education plan may utilize the ACCUPLACER placement exam in lieu of the SAT or ACT. Historically, the ACCUPLACER was in college entrance examination, but was removed when there were concerns of the misuse of the assessment. The use of the COMPASS exam was prevalent, but last year, the COMPASS exam was phased out by ACT, leaving the State Board of Education to investigate options. The updated language to the code, while we know does not address specific student situation or goals, hopefully provides clarity on how students on IEPs can meet the requirement. There are two different ACCUPLACER tests. The placement test is the test listed in the college entrance examination rule, which is the one required for students to take to meet the graduation requirement. This test will allow students to receive an individual score report for each placement test taken. The score will inform the student, their counselors, and parents where the student is in each discipline. There will be a score interpretation guide created by the SDE on our website, or I will be emailing it, which provides more detail of what the scores mean and next steps for students to consider. The state is recommending if a student scores in the low range on any placement test to consider having the student take the ACCUPLACER diagnostic in that certain subject. The ACCUPLACER diagnostic will further provide information on the student's strengths and areas to improve within that discipline. Now, I'm sure you're all wondering, which Idaho institutions use the ACCUPLACER placement exam for admission? Currently, Idaho's colleges require different placement tests for their first-year students. The kind and type of test can vary per institution. We do not want this discourage any students from taking the ACCUPLACER. This assessment serves as a great test experience for students to participate in and have the feeling of what a real college entrance exam can be. It will provide them experience of what universities and colleges will have them take their first year. Students will also be able to take their results from the test and further explore any options with guidance counselors, teachers, family, and higher education institutions. ACCUPLACER does not have any time constraints, and sessions can be stopped and started at any time. The only thing is the testing needs to be completed within the testing window. We will have two testing windows. The ACCUPLACER placement window will be from February 5th through April 30th, 2018. The ACCUPLACER diagnostic will be from February 5th through May 5th, 2018. Other accommodations that are available are included in a handout that that is located on our website, and along with other accommodations that the SAT allows for reportable scores. In addition, many higher education institutions throughout the country actually accept the ACCUPLACER placement, specifically our surrounding states like Colorado, Wyoming, Washington, Oregon, and Nevada. This leads me into the guidance for IEP teams. The reportable score accommodations for the SAT and the ACCUPLACER will help the IEP teams decide which test is best for their students. We also have another document that we believe will be beneficial for IEP teams. This document compares each college entrance exam assessment, the SAT, the ACT, and ACCUPLACER. It compares each of those and it compares the time constraints, structure and timing of assessments, test setting, cost, common use of each assessment, and direct admissions and scholarships opportunities. With that, I'm going to hand things over to Kendrick to explain IEP timing and process making the decision.
Hi, everyone. In the spirit of high expectations, special education students should participate in the same assessment activities as their peers, using approved accommodations if needed to appropriately access those tests. The student's IEP team should meet at least annually and decide how a student will participate in statewide or district-wide assessments. That's a conversation of that meeting. While accommodations and alternatives for certain assessments may exist, final determinations, again, toward how a student participates should always consider the individual, not the individual's disability category or their eligibility for special education. They should always consider regular assessment first, using approved accommodations, and all of these decisions should be made by the IEP team as part of the IEP process and documented in the student's plan. Any changes or updates related to how the student will participate in assessments can be amended to the IEP without a formal team meeting, as long as the required participants are adequately informed and agree to the details of the amendment. For further information on that amendment, please see Section 3, Part B on page 102 of the Idaho Special Education Manual. Additionally, if it's determined by the IEP team that the student participate in alternative assessment or is exempted from a required assessment, an IEP written notice should also be provided to the parents and/or adult student that clearly explains implications toward the student's pursuit of a regular high school diploma and/or admission into certain post-secondary opportunities. While the state of Idaho requires participation in the SAT or ACT toward high school graduation, ACCUPLACER is another approved option for special education students to help them meet this graduation requirement. Special education students who participate in the statewide Idaho Alternative Assessment are also eligible to be exempted from this graduation requirement. This graphic here represents the decision-making process for determining how a student with a disability will participate in college placement testing. A full-page handout of this graphic is available for your download, but for this presentation, we will break it into 2 slides. We will first start by asking if the student is currently eligible for special education services, having a current IEP. If they do not, the expectation is that they participate in regular SAT or ACT testing in the same manner as their peers. For students who are currently in special education, their IEP team should first consider the student's ability to meaningfully participate in SAT/ACT testing. These assessments, although highly structured, do offer a variety of accommodations that should be reviewed carefully by the IEP team. However, there may be some special education students where participation in SAT/ACT testing may not be appropriate. For students whom the SAT/ACT is not appropriate, the IEP team should then carefully review the options for taking the ACCUPLACER test. For some, the flexible structure, timing, and setting of the ACCUPLACER is enough for them to be able to participate meaningfully. For others, available accommodations can be set up. And finally, while there is an exemption option for students who participate in the Idaho Alternate Assessment, IEP teams should first consider taking the ACCUPLACER with or without accommodations before assuming exemption is most appropriate for the student.
All right, what is next? If you're curious of what type of questions are on the assessments, please visit the hyperlink. Students can practice what is on the assessment, but please only use the classic ACCUPLACER sample questions. There's a little graphic to show you what is included. Also, what's next? In the beginning of the school year, the College Board sent out an intake form for the PSAT, SAT, and the ACCUPLACER. This provided us who is running each assessment. We are currently gathering this information. We're still gathering this information, I should say. There are some schools that we still don't have each contact for each assessment. The individual who was put down as the ACCUPLACER contact will be receiving a generic email from ACCUPLACER in early December. In this email, it will provide instructions on how to create an ACCUPLACER account. Creating this account enables the person to administer the assessment. Please be aware that this application functions on the internet. IT teams do not have to download new software, so all you need is a search engine. Please join us if you are a test proctor for the Test Proctor webinar in January 24th, 2018. This will cover the ACCUPLACER application and how to administer the assessment. Registration info will be coming soon. It will be on the assessment newsletters, and I will also be emailing the ACCUPLACER contacts. The handouts that we did mention throughout the webinar can be found on the College Entrance Exam webpage. On the screen now, you can see the hyperlink where this is located. Please scroll down the webpage to Resource Files. Under the ACCUPLACER, click ACCUPLACER Score Guidance. And this is an accordion, so it will expand and you can see all the documents that we have talked about during this webinar. There will be more that I add to it, and I will also be emailing the ACCUPLACER test proctors who were identified, district test coordinators, and the special education directors. If you have any questions, here are mine and Kendrick's contacts. Questions pertaining to the ACCUPLACER, please shoot them on over to me or give me a call. And if you have any questions pertaining to special education, please direct those to Kendrick. Thank you for listening, and if you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you.